Josh Pete and Kelvin Harrison in the outfield left to right. Neil Davis mans the hot corner. Reagan O'Neill is at short. Matt Tomlin at second base. Morgan Oddage at first. And Kevin Stockford will be catching for Kyle Linton, as you saw that first pitch on the outside. So the 2017 WBSC Men's World Softball Championship underway. First strike of this tournament poured in by Linton, and the count now even at 1-1.
Talk about our umpires today. There's a third team on the field today, Lance, and calling balls and strikes at home plate is Canada's Mike Morrissey. At first base, Tony Kaiaruna from New Zealand. Second base umpire is Daryl Helmer from Canada. Brian Sonak from the USA is at third. And operating the all-important pitch clock is Nobuhiro Endo from Japan.
So there you have it, a 1-ball, 2-strike count now as Linton in there all over that inside corner. So Matosumi is the first victim, strikeout via Kyle Linton, and they're one away here as we're just underway at the Pepsi Softball Center.
And Kyle Linton's going to be an important part for any success for Team Great Britain. Lance, actually a late cut from Team Canada, but playing with Great Britain again with his heritage status.
So Thabasu Ratatubani steps in as he takes a pitch up and in from Linton. And, of course, Linton's had plenty of international experience. We've watched Kyle kind of grow throughout the ranks, starting as a young pitcher as he's all over that outside corner. So count even at 1-1. It's come a long way, Kyle. I mean, sorry, Chris. Yeah, Kyle, as Mr. Smith's hovering over us here. Kyle's come a long way. He's grown. It's been a pleasure to kind of watch him. And this will be a good test now as he steps in kind of a leadership role here for his country for the first time.
Absolutely, and Kyle is a hard thrower, and Great Britain are going to need him. He's a guy who can throw all day, all week, and that's exactly what they need out of their top starter.
Of course, big tumble there as Kyle claims he's safe on the play. So a very gracious roll nonetheless. And the count 3-1 here to Ratatubani. Again, Chris, we don't know a whole lot about this Botswana team. They were strong, had a good showing in the junior worlds 2 years ago here in Whitehorse, and you can see the fruits of that labor now as, like you said, they missed a couple in the senior, and they're back here now. And that pitch in there for a strike, so that's going to run the count full. Ratatubani not in agreement there, neither was the rest of the Botswana dugout. But either way, Linton battles back, and something you don't often see or get used to is that pitch clock. And a swing and a miss. So Linton with a good start strikes out the first two batters he sees. And that will bring up the second baseman, Kabumato.
Yeah, 2 strikeouts, and that's how important getting the call is for Kyle Linton on the inside corner on that 3-1 pitch. He went from having a runner on and 1 out with the number 3 hitter coming up to now the base is empty, 2 down.
So Matu now with his first look at Linton, and a big swing and a miss. And I think, Chris, that's going to be one of the factors here is whether or not this Botswana team making the jump up from the junior ranks to the senior ranks. Now you're facing world-class pitching, the best of the best. And, you know, you go from seeing these young guys as that's a short squibbler, manned easily at first base by Morgan Oddage, and that will do it. So Oddage takes care of it unassisted, no hits, no runs, and nobody left aboard, and we played a half inning. It will be Great Britain up to bat when we come back.
The 2017 WBSC Men's World Championship is funded in part by
One, two, two, two.
Coming back, Chris will set the batting order for Great Britain. It'll be Regan O'Neill to lead things off. Josh Peet bats in the 2 spot. Luke Peters is in the 3 hole. Kevin Stockford, the cleanup hitter. James Darby in the number 5 spot. Kyle Linton will be batting 6th. Morgan Aldridge, the veteran, will be batting 7th. Neil Davies in the 8th hole and batting 9th, and rounding out the batting order will be Kelvin Harrison. Defensively for Botswana, Matusi Chalubani will be in left field. Eric Suwaza in center, and Homolemo Shalamazi is in right field. Mulasi will be on the hot corner. Dikokor is at short. Mato at second. Mutsumi at first. And Fabiso Ratatubani will be catching for Kahiso Mohali, who will be in the circle. And it'll be Regan O'Neill that gets his first look here at the young right-hander who's got good velocity, as that one fouls straight back to start it off.
Yeah, nice rise ball to get things started from Mohali. And O'Neill was right on it, though, fouled it straight back.
So again, we'll see. We spoke about the hitting, as that one's chopped foul. So O'Neill quickly in the hole 0-2. We spoke about Botswana possibly having their struggles hitting this world-class pitching. The question will be, now you look at their pitching staff, now they're going up against some world-class hitters.
Yeah, it's real interesting here, especially in Pool B, Lance, because it's considered to be wide open, especially with some uncertainty amongst some of the teams in Pool B. So there are playoff spots up for grabs, and Great Britain certainly looking for one of those.
So missing down on the drop ball, the count now 1 ball and 2 strikes. Mohali against O'Neill, and it was a quick 1-2-3 inning for Great Britain, as that rise ball misses up to run the count even at 2-2. So in case you didn't know, Pool A is Argentina, Australia, Canada, Dominican Republic, Hong Kong, India, South Africa, and the United States, as the 2-2 floated up and out of the zone. So that'll run the count full. Good at bat here for O'Neill. Pool B is Botswana, Czech Republic, Denmark, Great Britain, Japan, New Zealand, Turkey, and Venezuela. So we can say that they're favorites, as down goes O'Neill. So leading things off with a strikeout is Mohali. And we saw that with Kyle Linton, and it'll be Josh Peet now with his first look here at Mohali. So a good start for Botswana defensively.
What I really liked from Mohali there, 3-2, he went right after O'Neill and got the strikeout.
So the bunt attempt goes awry, or misses by Pete, and he's in the hole now, no balls and 1 strike. Tough to find yourself a more picturesque, messing up that word, Chris, scenery than here at the Pepsi Softball Center. Mountains on both sides, and if you've ever been lucky enough to make the trip to Whitehorse, you know what I'm talking about here, as, again, that one's fouled off. So Mohali certainly has some good velocity, and he's up in the count now, no balls and 2 strikes to Josh Peet. Pete choked way up on the bat and wave, and he goes down on 3 pitches. So Mohali, and we spoke about Botswana and what they can and can't do, sort of giving Great Britain the edge a bit experience-wise. But this Great Britain team is a young team. We traveled with Morgan Aldridge on the way here, and he said that they've got some kids that were just born when he started playing the game. So, you know, a veteran youngster mix here, and it'll be interesting to see if their bats can come alive. Like you said off the top, they've been struggling offensively. So Luke Peters now, as he looks at a rise ball out of the zone, and that one bounced in there. So 2 balls and no strikes.
Yeah, and Ratatubani behind the plate got a real true hop off this infield here, a mixture of clay and some other surfaces.
As that pitch in there for a called strike, 2 balls and 1 strike. And you're right, you're going to find that this infield very compact. You get true hops, but it's quick because there's not a lot of extra dirt laying around. So I think as an infielder, as long as you can get the true hop, I think you're better off than if you're going to go with the soft sort of infield that, you know, the more times it hits the the dirt, the more chance it has to go a different direction. The 2-2 bounced in there to run the count full. So Mohali looking to strike out the side and at the very least match Kyle Linton out for out here. And a big cut from Peters, fouled straight back. So the count will remain full.
We don't have a radar gun at this point yet of the week, but I can tell the viewers at home that Kahiso Mohale is throwing just as hard as anyone you may have seen around the North American circuit for some of our fans.
And again, Peters doing a good job. Tardy on the fastball, but got enough of it to stay alive, and he will see another pitch.
Good at bat here, and that's what you want if you're Luke Peters. You're the designated player. It's your job to get in there and have good at bats.
And that pitch, Squibbler out to second, and a good job of fielding that was Kabumato, and that will do it. So 4-3 on the putout will end things. No runs, no hits, and nobody left aboard. We've played one complete here at the Pepsi Center back here in a moment. Back here as we get set for inning number 2 here. Scoreless ball game between Botswana and Great Britain. Game 1 here at the 2017 WBSC Men's World Softball Championships. Lance Wynn, Chris Abbott. Glad you've tuned in here as we kick things off on Ballpark Broadcasting, as it will be Eric Simwaza followed by Obisi Lokotu and Matuzi Shalobani will be the scheduled 3 here to face Kyle Linton, who went 1-2-3 in the first inning.
Lance should say hello to everyone watching on sportscanada.tv. I know a lot of the players are watching back at the hotels, and even players that aren't here. Team Canada's Jason Hill, who's in St. John's, Newfoundland right now, is tuned in on the broadcast. So special hello to Jason this morning.
Well, that Jason guy gets a lot of props, gets a lot of recognition, and he's certainly a world-class player. We'll miss him here this week for sure, as will the red and white.
Oh, yeah.
Linton pours in a strike now. The count 2 balls and 1 strike. I think Jason's recently married, so he's going to realize there may be a few more constraints than he's used to, but in a good way, as the count now even at 2-2 to Simwanza.
I know Jason is expecting the birth of his first child.
And a called strike 3 outside corner. So Kyle Linton continues to mow him down. 3 strikeouts in the first 4 batters he's seen. And Obisui Lakotu will step in now for his first look here at number 34.
So Kyle Linton, much what we expected from him, Lance, striking out 3 of the first 4 batters he's seen.
And again, working the corners. So good pitching sequence. Linton certainly on point here as he works both sides of that plate. And that one missing down. So a close pitch. Linton didn't get the call there, and it's all even at 1-1. Look forward to seeing all the countries in action here this week. As Linton again, outside corner. So Linton now up in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
So Lance, the people at home should know that this is field number 2. On field number 1, that gets started at 10:30 a.m. local time. It's New Zealand against Turkey. The number 1 ranked team in the world, New Zealand, draw Turkey in their first game.
Remember, here on Sports Canada TV, Ballpark Broadcasting, every pitch, every game, every inning, as down goes Lakotu. 4 strikeouts for Linton, and that will bring up Motuzi Shalobani, the left fielder. And fortunately, if you're Great Britain and you're struggling offensively, it's nice that you can get a Kyle Linton to shut down the opposing team's offense, to at least give you a chance to go up there with a clean slate.
Well, if anybody knows this sport, it's all about pitching and defense. Even though offense has certainly taken the spotlight in the last few years, the game has changed a little bit in that regard.
So Linton missing down the count now. 2 balls and no strikes. They will appeal it as home plate umpire Mike Morrissey will make the call down, and no, he didn't go. So Linton with some work to do here with 2 away. No score. We are in the top of the 2nd inning. And a 3-0 count now. So first time Linton has been in this situation here. And he'll challenge with a strike on the outside corner. Three 1, big rip there, misses on the rise ball. So Linton has battled back to even the count and run it full. And challenge, and again, that one's fouled up and out of play here.
Well, Lance, the Weather Network tells me it is 14 degrees in Whitehorse. I beg to differ. It certainly feels warmer here. We're surrounded by mountains.
Well, I think we have to get some insight from the locals to get a really good idea of what the weather forecast is, because it could be different here, different parts of the town, as that ball is flared down the right field line and will drift foul out of play. So Chalobani is battling hard here against Linton with 2 away. He's been on the rise ball. And Linton will get his choice now of what he would prefer as far as what he's going to throw. And, of course, the more scuff ball, the better. No pitcher wants that nice new shiny one. And as you can see, going with the bright green as Linton misses. So that now first walk of the game.
And Lance, you made a great point there talking about the new ball. Linton gets a ball, not the one he warmed up with, and throws a ball with it on a full count. And that's as easy as it is to see a batter get away from you.
So Homolemo Shalamazi, the right fielder now, will step in with 2 away and a runner aboard. First runner of this ball game. And he chases the rise ball up out of the zone. So no balls and 1 strike.
You're absolutely right. The left fielder, Motusi Shalobane, is the first base runner of the event. We can claim a lot of that here in game number 1.
Squares a bunt. Big leadoff toss down, not in time. So a strike called. And Linton up in the count now 0-2. And I would expect here that Linton would go back to the rise ball that he's been successful with the first couple of pitches. And a big fastball, swing and a miss. So 3 pitches. And Linton out of the jam. Does give up a walk, though. 1 runner left aboard, but no runs pushed across. We're headed to the home half of 2. Scoreless ball game. Game 1 tournament. Back here for the bottom of the second inning, it'll be Kevin Stockford, James Darby, and Kyle Linton, the scheduled three hitters for Great Britain. Scoreless ball game, and Chris, we were talking between innings about what this Great Britain team has to do here. The question is you got Linton mowing them down, but can Great Britain produce something offensively to give Kyle Linton something to work with?
I think the question is going to be, what is Kahiso Mohali made of?
Good job there fielding that ground ball. So 1-3 on the putout as Stockford goes down quietly, and that'll bring up James Darby, the left fielder.
And what I mean by what Mohali's made of, he's out in the first inning. He's on adrenaline. He's throwing the ball hard. He got out of it clean. Now it's going to be interesting as the game settles in, what he actually is able to produce here.
Well, I agree with you, and I think the question will be, it's one thing when you go one full time through the batting order and then they get a chance to see you a second time. That will be when the adjustments have to be made. So you're right. It'll be interesting to see where he goes from there. Good hard thrower for sure as he starts Darby off with a strike right down the middle of the plate.
The one thing I've noticed about Mohali through the first four batters that he's faced,
that ball is lifted up and popped up, and settling under it and making the grab there was Brian DeCoquer, and there are two away here on the pop to short, and that will bring up Kyle Linton with two away.
Just to finish my thought, Lance, on what I've noticed from Mohali, he throws hard, he's got a good rise ball, but he has left a couple of drop balls flat in the zone, and we'll see if Great Britain are able to connect with any of those.
And a good hard fastball to start things off for Linton, in there for a strike.
Tell you what, he keeps throwing that pitch, he'll be just fine.
You are right. Good velocity there. Comes back again. Linton Tardy, swing and a miss, and the count now 0-2. Wouldn't change a thing here if you're Mohali. And he doesn't. 1, 2, 3. Down goes Linton. 3 strikeouts. We've played 2 complete innings. We're scoreless here at the Pepsi Center. Back here in a moment. Back here for the top of the third inning. Scoreless ball game between Botswana and Great Britain to open up the 2017 WBSC Senior Men's World Softball Championships. It'll be Moralagahani Mogolosu to lead things off here as that one stroked out to center field, and a heck of a grab out there from Josh Pete as a full extended dive to take away extra bases from Mualusi, and a highlight reel for the first out of this third inning.
Absolutely. We'll put a little asterisk by that catch by Josh Pete. If that gets to the ground, that's a triple or an inside the park home run for sure.
Certainly extra bases as in will step Brian DeCoquer, the shortstop, as Linton starts him off with a strike. And I think that's a good lesson for Linton. Don't necessarily take for granted that first pitch. This Botswana team will take the bat off their shoulders and go ripping as we saw there, squaring rise ball missing out. So the count even now at 1-1.
Well, just because Botswana aren't a powerhouse per se, they can still play the game, obviously. They played a friendly series with South Africa before coming over here to North America. They split those 3 games. Or 6 games, excuse me.
Couldn't hold up the swing there was De Coker, and he's in the hole now, 1-2. Good crowd on hand for the first game of this tournament here on Friday morning, as that's in there for a strike. So painting the inside corner was Linton. 6th strikeout of this ball game, and that will take it back to the top of the shop in Goodson Matsumi. And he was the first strikeout victim of the tournament here in his only other at-bat.
Went down looking to start the game.
And Linton there, missing out.
Matsumi was showing that slap, so the guys on the left side of the field want to be careful.
As that pitch just missed, Linton wanted it. And the count now 2-0.
Some beautiful camera shots from our friends here at Sports Canada TV.
Well, top-notch crew we're working with, which is always nice when you're at a top-notch tournament. And, of course, Joey Brown and company, not his first go-around here, as he seems to be all over from the East Coast to West Coast, as that ball is chopped foul. And he brought a new crew with him this time, and it's always nice to see.
I met some of the guys this morning, Lance. Fantastic. Got to be honest, didn't capture all the names just yet, but I'm sure we'll learn them as the tournament goes on.
Well, that's okay. That's part of it, part of the process. Linton rise ball. Down goes Matsumi. Again looking, second time, and 1-2-3. Some great defense from Josh Pete out in center field. This game is scoreless. We'll roll on down to the bottom of the third after this. Head now to the home half of the third inning. It'll be Morgan Aldridge, followed by Neil Davies and Kelvin Harrison. Still the first time through the order, 7, 8, 9 hitters for Great Britain.
Number 18, Morgan.
And Mohali has been mowing them down. 3 strikeouts of the first 6 batters he's seen. So Morgan Aldridge now, the veteran, who was initially called upon to coach the team, as it turned out, needed to bring his gear and suit up as well. And he provides some of that leadership veteran role for this Great Britain team. And he couldn't check his swing, so he's in the hole now, 0-2.
Great Britain hitters are having a hard time catching up to the rise ball of Mohali.
Good velocity as he goes to the down and out. Home plate umpire Mike Morrissey says nope, close, but didn't catch any part of the wood. And 1-2. And that did, it sure did. And down goes Aldridge looking. So turn that K the other way. His 4th of the ball game, and that'll bring up Neil Davies, the third baseman.
Now bat, number 11, Neil Davies.
So the offensive struggles continue for Team Great Britain, who had a hard time last weekend in Vancouver, and 7 up, 7 down so far today.
And had a notion on the rise ball, but didn't pull the trigger. So 1 ball and no strikes. And that ball's flared out, but handled easily by Kabumato. And that line drive is the second out of the inning and will bring up Kelvin Harrison, the number 9 hitter.
And that was the best contact of the day so far for Great Britain through the order the first time. But like you said, Lance, be interesting to see on the second time through the order after they've had a look at Mohali. But Mohali's made a believer out of me so far in this game.
I would agree as he pours in a strike to Harrison. And again, this game could come down to that one hitter, that one error, one mistake. And another team capitalizes, and that's the ball game here, as these two teams very evenly matched. The 0-2, swing and a miss. So Mohali getting the job done. First time through the order, no hits, no runs, and nobody left the board for Great Britain. We have played 3 complete. We're rolling on to the top of the 4th after this. Back here at the Pepsi Softball Center in Whitehorse, Yukon. Lance Wynn, Chris Abbott, alongside the Sports Canada TV crew and the Ballpark Broadcasting crew. Glad to have you with us here as we open up the 2017 WBSC Men's Senior World Softball Championships. So Fabiso Raditubani struck out in his first at-bat, second time through here for Linton in a scoreless ball game, Great Britain and Botswana. And Linton gearing up, missing outside.
So Lance, 9:30 in the morning here in the Yukon, which is the most northwestern part of Canada. It is in the same time zone as British Columbia and California. But in Botswana right now, it's 6:30 in the evening, 5:30 in London, England. So good evening to anyone watching in the two countries that these people are from.
Well, Chris, you talk about that as Linton misses with the 1-1 pitch to run the count to 2-1. We talk about being on different time zones. You being from Newfoundland and having to travel here, you've gone from one coast to the other. So you've kind of done a 6-hour flip. Some of us that have left from Ontario, only really 3-hour difference. But when you talk about the combining of getting adjusted to things, you know, it takes a little bit. So we look at the players the same kind of deal as Linton in there for a strike. So Raditubani tried to play that off as though it was way inside. Morrissey said, and it's full count, and took something off that pitch, and down goes Raditubani. Second time he is struck out, and that will bring up Kabumato, the second baseman.
You know, Lance, you talk about the time adjustments we've made. That's nothing compared to Botswana, South Africa. These guys, I was talking to a player from South Africa on the way here. We shared a plane, and he flew from, I believe it was Johannesburg to London, which is a long, long flight. Then London to Vancouver, which is a 10-hour flight in the air. Imagine the adjustment these guys are going through.
So just when you thought that, you know, we had something to say.
Yeah, we got nothing.
We don't have a whole lot. So Matu fouled off the first pitch that he saw. And he's squaring, brings it back, and didn't get a piece of that. I I don't believe. It just looks like Stockford missed it. And
Matlow was trying to sell that he took it off the arm.
well, I think he may have sold it on the scoreboard to count as 0-2. So we shall see here, not to keep you in limbo by any stretch, as Linton goes out with a good waste pitch. So 1 ball, 2 strikes the count. And just so you know, here on Diamond 2, just a little bit of obstruction down the left field line that we here at the booth have to deal with, as that ball is, of course, lifted high down the left field line and will drop in foul territory. So that pop-up in no man's land. And fortunately for Great Britain, it was just foul by, I would have to say, less than a foot.
Inches for sure, as Regan O'Neill limps his way back to shortstop. A good effort there. And yeah, we're relying on the great camera work to see down that left field line. But other than that, beautiful sight lines, beautiful, just a beautiful venue. And of course, the backdrop is stunning.
I think this certainly comparable to Newfoundland and the scenic diamond there. As Linton pours one in outside corner, no argument from Matto. So you turn that K the other way. 4 strikeouts in a row. 9 in total for Linton, and Eric Simwanza will now step in. He caught looking, in the second. And this, of course, his second look here at Linton. And a ground ball is going to find its way up the middle for a base hit. So first hit of this ball game comes from Simwanza. And it's a single off Linton and a base runner here for Botswana. And it will be Obusui Lakotu, the designated player, who will step in here, and be interesting to see what his strategy is here with 2 away.
Well, we saw Eric Simwanza right there, Lance, cut down his swing as the Botswanans were chasing the ball. He cuts it down, and we're going to see the same thing here from Simwanza. Or Lagotu, excuse me.
And a swing and a miss there. And again, you square up like you're going to bunt, pull back, and that, of course, shortens your swing. The 0-1 and a big rip there, so certainly no shortening up that time for Lakotu, as he took a big healthy rip, and he's now in the hole 0-2.
Yeah, and that ball went out in the parking lot here. Foul balls down the left side in Diamond 2 are going to have some people holding their breath as the rental cars out in the parking lot might be in for it here this week.
Well, that's the VIP section, so heads up, WBSC.
Might be a couple of claims.
The 0-2 from Linton, runner goes, and that one is popped, and it will drop foul. So Botswana fortunate on a couple of these pop-ups that they have been just out of the reach of any of the Great Britain defenders. But a 2-out hit from Simwanza has given Botswana a base runner, their second of this ball game. And runner goes and holds up, throw down, and it looks like a leadoff called. So leading off was Simwanza, as he is out, and looks like Lakotu will be the one to lead things off as we head now to the bottom of the 4th inning. Scoreless ball game. Botswana, Great Britain, back in a moment. Heading now to the bottom of the fourth inning. It'll be the top of the shop in Regan O'Neill, followed by Josh Pete and Luke Peters for Great Britain. Scoreless ball game as a big rip there, and that didn't sound too healthy off the bat, but O'Neill way out in front, and Mike Morrissey's going to take a check of that bat. It just didn't sound right when it hit it, and sometimes when you make contact and it's not in the sweet spot, as you can see the bat as it snaps right in half. So that bat was definitely broken. And
that's a function of Kahiso Mohali and how hard he's throwing the ball, but also a spot on the bat.
I'll say a combination of both for sure. And I think sometimes as a hitter you get caught, you get comfortable with a certain bat that you like, and sometimes you don't realize that bat may not have any more pop in it, or maybe time to kind of let it go. And sure enough, that's the case there as O'Neill took something off. So the first time we've seen an off-speed pitch from Mohali, and he picks the fourth inning to pull that one out of his pocket, and he's up in the count now 0-2. And again, O'Neill just did a good job to get a piece of that rise ball. So something new here from Mohali. Already good velocity, pulls that trick out, and good job holding that off till the fourth. 0-2 flared out, and an easy grab there for Matto. And there's one away here in the fourth.
Well, to me, Lance, that shows just a high softball IQ for Mohale and Radatabani behind the plate. They waited for the second time through the order. Also on the broken bat, O'Neill gets in there, geared up, and they get him out front.
So Josh Pete now steps in as he was a strikeout victim in the first inning. Made an outstanding grab defensively. And looking here as he's way tardy on the fastball, and Mohali not wasting any time as he's going right at Pete with two good hard pitches. And again, 1-2-3. So caught watching the paint dry was Josh Pete, and that'll bring up Luke Peters here with two away.
Well, that's the second time Pete's gone down on three pitches. He's seen two, three strike at bats, and it's a good thing he's playing well with the glove out there in center field because he's having a tough day at the plate.
Sometimes you got to contribute in other ways, and not the case here as Peters had some big cuts in his previous at bat, grounded out to the second baseman in his first and only other plate appearance. As that ball is driven out deep into the gap, but tracking that down was Simwaza. Covered a lot of ground, and a hard hit ball for naught as it's caught by the center fielder. No hits, no runs, and nobody left aboard. We're about to do our slide to five when we come back here in Whitehorse. Back here for our slide to five, Lance Wynn, Chris Abbott. Ballpark Broadcasting teamed up with Sports Canada TV to bring you every inning, every pitch, every game here.
Pretty exciting, actually. I'm honored to be here, to be honest with you.
So Abusui Lakoto, his second time here as he takes a big rip on the Linton offering. And he struck out in the second. And Linton has been very effective.
Lekoto was left standing at the plate with a 2-2 count as Simwanza was called for an early leadoff back in the top of the fourth.
So here he is now again, and a good high drop from Linton. And Lekoto in the hole now 0-2. And you think that the batter has a bit of an advantage. He was in the middle of an at-bat previous inning, gets another chance with a recount and goes down on 3. So just like the hitter could make adjustments, so could the pitcher, and that's exactly what Linton did as he sits down Lekoto for the second time. 10 strikeouts for Linton to this point here, and in will step Chalobani. It was Chalobani that earned the first walk of the ball game in the second as he waves at that pitch there. And you can see Linton now starting to get a little bit stronger, and that's been the book on Kyle. He's a workhorse, and if he can get through the first couple, as that pitch is for a strike for sure, if he can get through the first early parts of the ball game, he's going to get stronger as the game goes on, and that's what we've seen up to this point here.
And he's got Chalobani in the rats, as they say. He's completely confuddled by the pitching of Linton right now.
Well, as Mr. Abbott pulls out the dictionary.
I don't know that one's in the dictionary.
I'm not quite sure either, but you know what?
People know what I meant,
pretty
right?
good, and we knew exactly what you were saying, so we're going to roll with it. And we'll just call it some terminology as that ball is slapped and drops foul.
Look out, Maddie Flanagan.
Maddie Flanagan does a good job of getting her camera and herself out of the line of fire. And Chalobani does a good enough job to stay alive and see another pitch with the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. And Linton comes down. Count even now 2-2. And that's a sign of a good veteran pitcher. You don't always have to go right at a hitter. Sometimes you want to mix it up and get him to chase your pitch, as there's that rise ball. So case in point, as Chalobani goes down, and that will bring up Homolemo Shalamazi, the right fielder here. And of course, he was a strikeout victim in the second to end the inning. So adjustments second time through the order from Linton have been very good as he paints the outside corner and starts off Shalomasi with a strike.
Credit as well to player coach Kevin Stockford behind the plate. You don't see Linton calling much off.
And again, all over that outside corner. You're absolutely right, Chris. A very well called game, and can't give Linton all the credit. He's hitting the spots, but it's Stockford that's calling the game. And go back to the rise. So a good sequence here of mixing the pitches from Linton. And he's up in the count now 1-2. And foul tip into the glove of Stockford. So striking out the side was Linton. He's looked good, real good. Scoreless ball game. We'll continue our slide to 5 here in Whitehorse after this short break. Back here as we continue our slide to 5. Home half of the 5th scoreless ball game. It'll be the number 4 hitter in Kevin Stockford, followed by James Darby and Kyle Linton, the scheduled 3 here. So second time through the order for the meat of the order. And Mohali has been good. We saw his first off-speed pitch of the ball game last inning. And he took something off, slow ground ball to third. So an easy play there for Mualusi. And one pitch, one away for Botswana.
Something here that the umpires are getting together on, maybe asking if that went off the foot of Stockford, looking for a foul ball call. That's exactly what they're doing. But Great Britain will lose that appeal.
And I thought it looked very close to going off the foot, but I think just with the turf, it just naturally slowed it down. And I think really and truly when you look at it, if you're Stockford, you probably wanted another crack or another swing at the very least.
Well, if you remember Stockford's first at-bat, he squibbed one out into first. He squibbed one down to third that time. So that tells me that there's some real nice spins on the pitches from Kahiso Mahale on the mound for Botswana.
James Darby certainly took a healthy cut at that first pitch and was only able to get a piece of it, not able to keep it between the white lines, so he's in the hole now 0-1. And a rise ball up and on the outside part of the plate, so a good pitch from Mohali. And being a young pitcher, you would expect there to be maybe some control issues being on the stage that he's on right now, but I tell you, opening up this tournament, Chris, he's looked awfully good and awfully comfortable.
Cool as the proverbial cucumber, Lance. I've been very impressed with Mohali on the mound.
And a rise ball sits down Darby as Mohali getting it done. 7 strikeouts for Mohali here, and there are 2 away for Kyle Linton, and now would be a good time to potentially help his own cause here, and at the very least, a 2-out hit to get a base runner aboard. And that's probably not going to do it. Linton getting a taste of his own medicine there as he chases the rise ball up and out of the zone to fall behind 0-1.
Well, it'll tell you a bit about the strength or lack thereof of the Great Britain batting order. Pitcher Kyle Linton is batting 6th, and of course Linton not known for his hitting prowess.
So Linton in the hole 0-2. And he's in the outside corner. So Linton caught looking. I'm sure was expecting another rise ball. Didn't get it. And Botswana out of the inning clean. No runs, no hits, no runners left aboard. We have played 5 complete to the top of the 6th after this. Welcome back here as we get set. It'll be the 8-9-1 hitters here in the top of the 6th inning for Botswana.
Lance, and before we get going here in the top of the 6th, I want to say a big thank you to our behind-the-camera crew here at sportscanada.tv, Ball Prop Broadcasting. Our camera people at home plate, Charlie Kanan. The outfield camera, Mike Parlini. Down on third baseline is Kevin Bourne. Our director here just to our right is Cade Leslie. And, of course, Troy Brown, who runs the entire ship for sportscanada.tv.
So top-notch crew here on board for every pitch, every inning, every game here as Mualusi, who sent that liner to the gap in left center that Josh Pete tracked down and made a full extension drive. Right now, the only real threat we've seen from Botswana, with the exception of Sumasi with a single in the fourth. Linton has been good. He has 12 strikeouts here up to this point, and has his team sitting in a scoreless tie. And that bunt attempt goes through, strike 3. So leadoff man down for Botswana, and that will bring up the number 9 hitter, Brian DeCocour, the shortstop.
Well, Lance, as this game gets further along in a scoreless tie, the game becomes even more important for both of these two teams. Tomorrow, Botswana play Japan, who are a Pool B favorite, and Great Britain play Denmark. So those are going to be tough tests for both these teams. And, of course, both want to go into those games with a win. And right now, this is anybody's ball game, as a matter of fact.
And I think you're right, Chris. And I think when you look at the schedule throughout the week, you have to figure that as a hard one-hopper played nicely by Morgan Aldridge, and he does it himself unassistedly by slapping on the tag. And DeCocour is the second out of the inning, and that'll take it back to the top of the shop in Godson Mutsumi. And you're right, I think you have to have at least 3 wins in pool play to actually have a chance to get to the medal round. So although these guys are only playing 1 game a day in the early part of this tournament, you have to figure all the wins are important. And the sooner you can collect 3, the better, as that one is bunted and it's foul. So Neil Davies was all over that, but it did go foul, as Mike Morrissey all over that call.
Davies does the right thing there, Lance. He completes the play. That ball was just inches foul, so rather than risk the umpire getting it wrong or seeing it differently, Davies completed the play, and also a little bit of practice for him.
I agree. Top of the shop here, Mutsumi 0 for 2. He's been caught looking twice. So Linton has gotten the better of their leadoff man, a beauty bunt, but again, Davies came in crashing, makes the play. So some good defense there. And give Davies some credit. Read that perfectly, and we will head down to the home half of the 6th inning. Scoreless ball game. Great Britain, Botswana, game 1 of the tournament. Back here for the home half of the 6th inning. Lance Wynn, Chris Abbott. Chris talking about batting in the middle of the order for Great Britain.
I'm saying I have heritage. I'd like to get up and give him.
I hear you loud and clear.
Both sides of my family are from Great Britain. I'd really like to get in and take a hack against Mohali. Now I didn't bring my gear, so I guess it's not going to happen.
Well, and that says a lot. And listen, you come from Newfoundland, so I tell you, that's a hotbed, right? So Morgan Aldridge now, as the veteran, tries to lay down a bit of a bunt and get a base hit that way. Caught looking in the 3rd in his only other plate appearance here. And swings through. So down goes Aldridge as Mohali continues to shine here and impress everyone, and it'll bring up Neil Davies, the 3rd baseman.
Sorry, Lance. I was going to say that's 9 Ks now for Mohali, and he's drawn a lot of spectators over here to diamond number 2 to witness this pitching performance. Word is spreading around the park quickly.
Doing a good job in the circle for sure. Davies lined out to the 2nd baseman in his only other bat appearance here, as that one is popped up, and a mad chase, and a good job from Ratatubani to track that down, make the basket catch to retire Davies and record the second out of this 6th inning. So it looks like there is going to be a pinch hitter for Kelvin Harrison.
I believe that's Amit Aswani coming on to bat. No, I'm wrong.
Might want to. Well, it could be, or it could be Tom Prescott.
Well, that's still Harrison standing there. So I'm not sure. Oh, no, it's got the wrong jersey on. That's the problem right now. So we should mention, Lance, and you see the bench staff from Great Britain giving the change to the home plate umpire. Now, normally under these circumstances, the changes would be given to the off-field official with the WBSC, but we are in a bit of a remote area here in Whitehorse, and there were a couple of travel delays for some of the umpires. So the home plate umpire doing the classic job of taking the changes.
So it looks like it will be. So just some clarification. Not wearing number 6 was Ivan Gale, and he is now wearing number 21. So Gale has come in now to hit for Harrison, and that is all cleared up. So Ivan Gale now will, with his first look here at Mohali, with 2 away here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Scoreless ball game. And looking at a called strike is Gale.
Well, Lance, I guess there's no real pressure if you're Ivan Gale because Great Britain have not reached base here in this game. And now we've got a question coming from the dugout. I think just maybe some clarification saying, hey, we don't have a number 21 on our roster.
Well, he could be saying that. He could be also saying, you know, what's the penalty for sending someone up or having someone on the roster with the wrong number? It'll be interesting to see. We're not exactly privy to the conversation, if you know what I mean. So we'll have to wait and see what comes of it. I don't know if you can really discipline someone after there's already been a pitch thrown anyway with that. So,
I mean, I'll be honest, I don't know the WBSC rulebook inside and out. I mean, you could be called out for something as simple as having the wrong jersey number on, but it looks like that discussion is happening right now. And Lance, the day that the umpires and coaches let us mic them up for events like this is the day that we'll be pretty happy. But I don't think we're ever going to see that. But what we do see on the screen right now is just the sheer beauty of Whitehorse and the complex here.
It's certainly something that's memorable. We've been here, and I know Jim and his crew have been here from 2014. I jumped on board 2015, and I tell you, this is something that we circle on the calendar years ahead, and you certainly don't want to miss it. The atmosphere, the hospitality, the scenery, everything that encompasses this tournament is always top-notch, and it's very enjoyable. So after that lengthy discussion, Gale will remain in the batter's box. The count will remain at 0-1, and Mohali will go back to work here. And that pitch in on the hands. So Gale all choked up. Mohali, a good job and a good location. There wasn't anything that Gale was going to be able to do with that pitch except maybe a weak ground ball, and he's in the hole now 0-2. And doing a good job just to get a piece of that, as Gale, you saw, reverted back to just using the arms to get a piece of that pitch. And Mohali's been awfully tough, and we've spoken numerous times, and the question will be whether or not that ball may have gotten a piece of Gale's hand. Now, the ruling is it's not hit by a pitch if you swing through it. And I think it caught him on the hand that was on the bat, but because he swung, you're not going to get the base on that.
No, but he's hurt, and he's coming. It looks like he might be coming out of the game. He could have as much as a broken finger on that, because he dropped the bat right away and walked to the dugout. And so Ivan Gale's tournament may have been 3 pitches.
So we'll have to keep an eye there as to what is going to result from that. But a very peculiar play, as you see Kelvin Harrison now taking a few swings, because he may have to go in and resume that count. I mean, you go in and you're going to resume the count. You're down 0-2.
You've already been taken out of the game. You're not good enough to get in and take this at bat. Now you got to do it with 2 strikes.
So,
I don't mean to laugh, but it's a peculiar situation.
Well, it puts Harrison in a bit of a tough spot, right? So interesting to see here. And if you're Mohali, I don't think you waste any time. You go right at him. So Harrison, I think, has to step in that box ready to go. And sure enough, it is Harrison with an 0-2 count. And does a good job just to stay alive. So he will see another pitch. And again, not laughing at Harrison and that. You're just talking about the scenario and what he's put into as the 0-2 again. And a swing and a miss. So not a whole lot he could do except go up there hacking. 1, 2, 3, down go Great Britain. And we have played 6 complete. Continue to be scoreless here in Whitehorse. Back in a moment. Back here for the top of the 7th inning. It'll be the 2-3-4 hitters for Botswana, and Ratatubani will lead things off, followed by Mato and Simwanza. The scheduled 3 hitters for Botswana. Kyle Linton has been awfully strong up to this point, and he continues to get the job done. Surrendered just 1 hit. Has given up a walk as well.
Yeah, 2 batters reaching base on Kyle Linton. That's 2 more than have reached base on Kahiso Mohale for Botswana, as we play in the 7th, just an hour and 8 minutes since we started.
You keep doing that. I'm telling you, you're flirting with fire, chasing that rise ball and getting a piece of it.
Well, I can't go back to the past. I don't have a DeLorean, so I can state fact. I can state fact.
Okay. All right, if you do happen to pick up a DeLorean, let me know.
Yeah, I can use it.
Drop in with you. There's some things I'd like to take care of. The 0-2 from Linton, way outside. So a good waste pitch to run the count now to 1-2.
Question, Lance, so if I had a DeLorean and we changed that, would we be here right now to be talking about it? That's the question.
Well, it depends on the decisions that you make when you go back, all right? So Ratatubani fouls that one off. He has struck out twice here in his previous 2 at-bats, once in the 1st, once in the 4th. And Linton has had his number, and again, up in the count, 1-2. So Linton set to go. Ratatubani steps out, so Linton goes for a stroll and then comes back with that pitch up and in. So it looked like a bit of a high drop. More so, I think, a little bit embellished as to how close that pitch was.
I can't remember. It may have been Ratatouille on his last at-bat did the same thing.
That ball up the middle, base hit. So a leadoff single for Ratatouille. And just like that, a little something going here in the top of the 7th for Botswana as they pick up their third base runner of this ball game and second hit of the game.
And they're right into the middle of their order. The number 3 batter now, Cabo Matlo, is up.
So we'll see if Mato can move the runner along. Both corners drawn in, expecting a bunt, and that one is slapped and popped up down the left field line and will drift out of play. And no secrets here as to what Mato is about to do here. He's 0 for 2. He's grounded out and got caught looking. So the question now will be, can he execute with both Aldridge and Davies coming in hard on the corners, expecting this bunt? And Linton comes down and in, and that'll run the count even at 1-1. So the first real time, I think, a little bit of pressure here being put on Great Britain and Kyle Linton, and we'll see how they respond. And going for the rise ball. Yes, he did, and it's a strike. Not sure if it was foul tipped, but dropped by Stockford, and it looks like Ratatouille, doing a good job of heads-up base running, has scooted down to second base on the play, and I think we're going to have a bit of a conference.
Lance, I don't believe that ball was touched. Stockford trying to sell it. I think he dropped it as he stood up.
I thought there was possibility that it may have been tipped, but again, just may have been a good selling job as
and he sold it.
He sold it, and it looks like Ratatouille will be headed back to first base. And you say that because he chased a rise ball to try to bunt it, and really when you think about it, if it didn't touch the bat, then the trajectory of the ball wouldn't have been going in a downward motion, and that's what it appeared to have go off Stockford's glove coming down as opposed to either going up or just straight. Now,
well, my question becomes then, if an umpire saw that at the time, why not call it then? Why wait for the conference? But maybe they had to ask each other questions. I don't know.
Well, maybe you're right. Maybe it was a bit of the conference that was a determining factor here. Either way, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Runner on first base here. Nobody out. Top of the 7th. Swing and a miss. So a good job from Linton as he bears down when he needs to. Gets the strikeout for the first out of the inning. And that'll bring up Eric Samwaza, who caught looking in the second but had a single in the 4th. Got caught stealing to end that inning. So another chance here as that pitch inside just missed from Linton.
Well, you know, Lance, you talk about having to get breaks along the way, and that's certainly a break for Great Britain. They went from having a runner on second with nobody out. Runner gets sent back, and now Botswana are scrapping.
Big swing and a miss. Not sure why, though, Botswana has gotten out of the bunt mode. In my opinion, you're struggling to put up runs here. You're in the 7th. You got a base runner. Maybe you continue to get that runner in scoring position, and even if you only have 1 crack at it, you're still a hit away from putting up the first run in this ball game as Linton misses in. So 2-1 to count.
Well, Simwanza is the cleanup hitter. I can only assume that the logic there is to let your big stick do the talking.
And that ball is lifted up and will drift up and over into the adjacent diamond.
Nobody over there. It fell into the grandstand behind the bleachers as New Zealand and Turkey are getting ready to begin their 10:30 local start, so they're 14 minutes away from first pitch.
Good one going here. We are scoreless. Great Britain against Botswana. And that ball is lifted up and again will drift foul and out of play.
And, of course, you can catch New Zealand and Turkey on Diamond 1 coming up with Steve Sabrin, Jason Gerbes, I believe, have the call for that one.
I don't know if he even wants to go by Jason Gerbes.
He wants
to
to
go
be
by
Chopper?
and I think we'll have to accommodate him. The next game here on Diamond number 2 will feature the Dominican Republic taking on Hong Kong. So a 2-2 count here. We've got what could potentially be a ways to go in this ball game as Ospeed looking at the hole and no play. So Regan O'Neill able to get to it, not able to field it cleanly out of his glove and get the lead runner, and just like that, because it was hitting the hole, I'm going to have to give Swamwanza an infield hit on that. Not sure what you're
I'm
thinking.
waiting to see if they're going to flash it on the scoreboard there. The official scorers are a ways away, so I believe there's some discussion going on over there. That's a tough one. It's a tough play, but again, O'Neill didn't try to make a play, and he may have had one. So be interesting to see how tough the scorers are, I guess.
Yeah, and I think it's a play that your shortstop can make. It is not an easy play.
No.
Whether it be to go to second and get the lead runner or first, because it was hit in the hole between third and short. So either way, with one out, it's Lakotu who steps in. He has struck out twice in this game, and his bunt attempt goes awry and foul. So I would expect here to see a bunt attempt based on Lakoto's 0-2.
Yeah, that, and they just want to put the ball in play right now and put the pressure on the Great Britain defense.
And I think that showed right there with O'Neill. Sometimes it's when it's been a while since you've gotten some work defensively, you're not as sharp as you could be. You may have been lulled into a little bit of a false sense, and that, of course, is immediately when the ball gets hit to you, as we know. So no balls and 2 strikes to count here to Obisui Lakotu. And that pitch way outside. So a good waste pitch from Linton. And a good test for Linton, too, who's got plenty of experience. He's been in these situations before, knows the importance of getting this next out, and knows the importance of making good pitches at the right time here, because it is money time here in the top of the 7th. Still squaring and waving. So Linton bears down when he needs to. Gets a couple of strikeouts. And we'll see now with Chalobani, who walked in the 2nd and struck out in the 5th. If Linton can't bring his team all the way back here and get out of this jam, Botswana potentially 1 hit away from scoring the first run of this ball game, as a big cut there from Chalobani. And I tell you, when you, as a hitter, when you take a cut and you keep your bat pointing at the pitcher after your swing, they often don't like that too much.
Well,
so
there's been a few instances today, and we've seen it from Ben Anoka in the past as well, that he keeps that glare at the pitcher. So Botswana have picked up a little bit of that. We've seen it through their order.
Well, I tell you, you saw that was a good pitch there. Linton wanted it, and he looked like he put something extra on it. And you're even hearing some grumblings from some of the spectators in the crowd, as everyone's an umpire. And the 1-1 coming in. So Linton brings it in on the hands after not getting the call on the outside part of the plate. And he's up 1-2 here. So 1 strike away from getting out of this jam here in the top of the 7th. Scoreless ball game. And Linton brings the gas, missing outside. So the count even now at 2-2. Two is flared, and that will drift out of play. So Chalobani doing a good job of staying alive here. And if you're Linton, do you go back to the rise ball, or do you try to come hard on with the hard drop outside?
I want him chasing out of the zone here right now. A big tall guy like that, I'd go drop outside.
We'll see what Linton and Stockford decide to do here. And they come with the drop. So good call on your part, Chris Abbott, looking sort of like a genius. Either way, Linton strikes out the side. No runs. 2 men left aboard. 2 hits in that inning, but no damage done as we head to the home half of the 7th inning. Back here in Whitehorse in a moment. So, Chris, we got some clarification on that scoring play in the last inning.
Yeah, it was actually an excellent decision by the scorers, I thought. We discussed whether it would be a hit or an error. Neither. They gave that play a fielder's choice, thinking that O'Neill had the play at second, like we discussed during the inning. And so what it was is that the batter at the time, Simwanza, reaches on a fielder's choice. Ratatubani moves to second on the fielder's choice, and it goes as an 0 for in the scorebook.
So top of the shop here for Great Britain, bottom of the 7th inning, scoreless ball game. It's Reagan O'Neill, followed by Josh Pete and Luke Peters, the scheduled 3 hitters. And O'Neill working on an 0 for 2 ball game. He got caught looking in the first and lined out to the second baseman, a soft liner, in the 4th, as that one is ripped foul. So O'Neill jumped on the first 2 pitches from Mohali and not able to keep them between the lines, so he's in the hole now 0-2. And down goes O'Neill. So caught looking at a crucial time here to lead things off in the 7th. Big strikeout for Mohali. And that will bring up Josh Pete, who has been a strikeout victim twice. Once looking, once swinging, and he takes that right in a very bad spot. And he needs immediate attention as
Did that hit him in the face?
that hit him in the face. And I think they're going to need a medic right now as he is bleeding from the face area and the mouth area. So if we can at the very least maybe get a towel out there to slow that down. As a very unfortunate accident, certainly no malice involved there from Mohali, as it looks like that pitch just may have gotten away, and good to see an ice pack immediately on the face of Pete. As you see Pete, the way he crouches in that batter's box, he's low, but he is teetering on, hovering over the plate, and it looks like Mohali was coming up and in a bit, and Pete not able to get out of the way of that, as that looked like it got him flush.
So there's a couple of questions here, and I don't want to take away from the injury, but he was turning to bunt. That could be considered a strike or a base on balls. It could be either, or a hit by pitch, because he was turned to bunt. It's the same as swinging and getting hit with a pitch. It's a strike. So it'll be interesting to see what the umpires rule here, and excellent to see Josh Pete on his feet.
Well, you're right. The question would be is whether or not he made an attempt at the bunt to make it a bunt attempt, to, you know, have it go as either a strike or a hit by a pitch. And it looks like it is going to be a hit by pitch, I would think. I don't think he had time to make a forward motion to bunt. So I think that he is going to be down at first base. And that is the case, as it looks like we will have a pinch runner come in, and I believe it'll be Amit Aswani. So under the blood rule, you see that Pete is out, and Amit Aswani has come in.
And you see now the grounds crew coming out with a shovel to shovel away the blood of Josh Pete. So putting his DNA on the line for his nation here in game number 1.
Well, fortunately, hopefully it's not a tournament-ending injury for Pete. He's clearly a big part of this Great Britain team in the lineup, and we certainly saw his defense on display earlier in this game. So you never want to see anyone's tournament end on an injury.
No. Well, they're already in danger of losing Ivan Gale, of course, with that hand injury just an inning ago. So already with a thin bench, Team Great Britain potentially losing 2 players here in this morning game.
So Luke Peters now, the number 3 hitter, will step in. Peters has grounded out and lined out. So he's been one of the few that have been able to get a touch. That one back to the pitcher, over to second in time for 1, over to first. A picture perfect 1-6-3 double play to get out of the inning. So Mohali starts it, and Botswana puts their defensive prowess on display and ends the inning and the threat. So we're looking at the 8th inning on game 1 back here after this. Back here for the top of the 8th inning. It'll be the 7, 8, 9 hitters for Botswana. Some defensive changes for Team Great Britain. James Darby will slide from left into center, and Luke Peters, the designated player, will go out and take over in left field, as Josh Pete has been removed from the ball game due to that hit by pitch. It'll be Homolemo Shalomazi to lead things off, followed by Morilugahani Mualusi, the number 8 hitter, and Brian Diko Kerr will round out the 3 here. And if my memory serves me correctly, we'll be going to international rules, which means Botswana will start with the last hitter on second base. So we are starting with the tiebreaker rule.
Yeah, it doesn't get any more international than this one, Lance, here at the WBSC Men's World Softball Championships. So Shalabane will take over running at second base in the international tiebreaker rule, as he was the last out for Botswana in the 7th. And it looks like they're going to actually send a pinch runner out there. Looks like number 8. So Kosimore, is that?
I believe that's, yes. I believe that's Moses Kosimore that will come in, and you could probably guess he's got good speed. And so now, Chris, we talk about some of the strategies when you go into this international tiebreaker. Do you play for that one run, or do you take it as though you're looking to add a couple?
In this game?
Well, let's talk about this game first. And what was the initial strategy you think that would probably be best served by Team Botswana?
Well, you're certainly going to see Shalamatse try and get a bunt down here and get the runner over to third, maybe even hope for a pass ball. The pressure really comes now on Kevin Stockford, Neil Davies at third, Morgan Ottridge at first, and Kyle Linton on the mound to make the right defensive play.
So interesting to see here if Botswana will play to advance the runner to third and take 2 cracks at bringing him in, or do you try to hit the ball hard and maybe end up with runners on the corners potentially, or bringing that run in? So some different schools of thought. Either way, Linton will bring it, bunt attempt, and it's a beauty, and it's going to go no man's land. So bunting for a base hit, and a beauty from Chalamazi, as runners now will be on the corner.
And that's what I talked about, the defense, but that was in a perfect spot, Lance. That was actually a pinch hitter. Juri Manaka came in wearing the number 18 jersey, and a perfect bunt.
So Juri Mananaka then getting the job done here, as now you talk about pressure with 2 men on for the third baseman, Mualusi. Mualusi has flied out. That was the great grab that Josh Pete made in the third. So that and a strikeout in the 6th. So Mualusi has hit the ball hard off of Linton here. A chance now to push across the first run of this ball game at the very least. So infield's drawn in. Nobody away here. We are in the top of the 8th inning, and that ball lifted up, and that's going to go to deep right field. That should get it done. Play made by Harrison. The throw not in time. So it's Botswana with a sac fly from Mualusi that brings in the game's first run. And it's 1-0 for Botswana. And they've got another runner in scoring position here.
That is picture-perfect fast-pitch softball from Team Botswana here in the top of the 8th inning.
And up to this point, there's been no action out in right field. And when you need a sac fly, they deliver on cue. So Brian DeCoeur, the shortstop now, looks at a rise ball from Linton. And it's going to be important here for Linton to settle his team down. He's a veteran. Don't worry about that one run. You get the same scenario in your at-bat. The key here is to keep them from pushing another run across the board.
You're absolutely right.
A big twist there, and that's fouled out of play. So DeCoeur looking comfortable in the box there as he struck out and grounded out. 0 for 2 here.
That first run has gone to the collective confidence of Team Botswana, and you can see it in this approach from DeCoeur.
So 1 run pushed across, runner on second, bunt squaring, but missing down was Linton. So 2 balls and 1 strike. As you can see, racing in was James Darby to potentially cover that runner at second base and keep him close. Can't forget about these runners sometimes. As you go forward in this tournament, look at teams like New Zealand top teams. You got to be paying attention. They will take a base on you as that ball is slapped out of play and off the other press box. As that game is underway on diamond number 1 here. This game, of course, kicked off the tournament, and it's still going. One away, runner on second base. 1-0. Botswana has pushed across a run here. And that ball lifted straight up and again will be out of play. So all of a sudden now, looks like these Botswana hitters are looking a little more comfortable, and they seem to be on what Kyle Linton is bringing.
Well, and also, Lance, 8 innings here to start for Kyle Linton in this tournament. So interesting to see what he has left in the tank this morning.
Well, the good thing about the early parts of the tournament, it's 1 game a day as Linton goes to the outside. So that makes a big difference as far as being able to utilize your ace as many times as possible.
Oh, it's absolutely massive.
We know that these guys are sometimes in the club circuit. They will pitch three games in a day in a tournament. So that one again popped up and drifting out of play. So a battle ensuing here between Dukokur and Linton. And this will be pivotal as far as going forward, as Great Britain is going to have to make up a run here in their half. And Botswana trying to add to their 1-run lead. And a big swing and a miss. So Linton gears down, goes to the rise ball to get Dukokur, and that will take it to the top of the shop. And it looks like we may have a pinch hitter coming in for Godson Mutsumi, who was working on an 0-4-3 ball game.
Yeah, it's going to be Odarile Leharu coming in to pinch hit.
Just checking on my sheet here. So, Odarile Lehayu will be the pinch hitter now, and with 2 away and a runner on, he's looking for some contact here. And that first pitch from Linton missing in. So Lehayu facing Linton here. 1 ball, and there's a swing through on the rise ball. So the count even now at 1-1. Tough situation to put Lehayu in. I think the good thing is Botswana has pushed a run across already as he chases a pitch down. So looking a bit overmatched in the first 3 pitches he's seen from Linton is Lehayu. And the count now, a ball and 2 strikes. Runner going, and rise ball fouled back. So runner was on the move there in Shalamazi.
You don't see many straight steals from second base, but anything at all here in the 8th inning. Of course, you've already cashed in your 1 run, so you're playing with house money at this point.
House money's always different than your own, so chance here to make a difference as that's in there for a 3rd strike. No sense arguing that call as Linton bears down when he needs to. Tough break, though. They Run pushed across. First run of the ball game goes to Botswana. It will be 3 to get, 1 to get if you are Great Britain, 3 if you are Botswana. Back here for the bottom of the 8th after this. Back here, 1-0 ball game in favor of Botswana. As they plated a run in the top of the 8th inning, it will be the 4-5-6 hitters for Team Great Britain, and catcher Kevin Stockford will lead things off. He's grounded out twice in this ball game, 0 for 2. So runner on second base, and a weak ground ball fielded at short, over to first in time. So a good job from Deco Kerr to get the out. Stockford will move the runner along, which was ultimately the plan there. Luke Peters is on base, so he's standing at third now, and that will bring up James Darby.
And Peters not the best runner for Great Britain, but they are out of bodies. They have 2 injuries and only had 3 guys on the bench, so they have to leave somebody.
So Mahali starts Darby off with a called strike outside corner. See where the corners are. Infield's at regulation depth. Like they're going to concede that run as Darby got a pitch that he wanted. That's straight over our heads here at the press box. And Darby in the hole now 0-2. So a much needed hit here from Darby would take the pressure off Linton having to deliver in crunch time if Darby can get something done here. And a changeup from Mohali. We've only seen that a few times here in this game. He's got a good one and chose to use it there with an 0-2 count to try to get Darby to chase. 1-2 goes the rise ball, so came down, now going up. So a good mixing there from Mohali.
That rise ball was peeking out of the top of Tabiso Radatabani's glove.
That gets away. That could be a run. And a swing and a miss. So a big strikeout for Mohali. Second out of the inning. And it'll be up to the pitcher Kyle Linton here to help his own cause. And at the very least tie this game up with a clutch hit. So funny you get a chance as a pitcher to be a factor defensively, and now offensively Linton has a chance to keep his team alive here.
And Linton has not looked good in the batter's box today. He's been chasing the rise ball of Mohali out of the zone. He's got 2 strikeouts, but Kyle Linton been in this situation before. He is the most experienced player on the Great Britain roster. It's the guy you want.
And that's exactly what Botswana was thinking as they issued the intentional walk. Now, you say that, and yes, Linton is a pitcher, but this game of softball, you have to have a short memory. It doesn't matter what you've done in your previous at-bats. It matters what you do now. So it looks like it's going to be Morgan Aldridge now. He working on an 0-for-2 ball game. Same stats as Linton, where 2 strikeouts, caught looking on one of them, and a chance here to tie this ball game.
Aldridge has not had good swings today and still looks tentative up there right now.
Had a notion, couldn't pull the trigger in, now in the hole, 0-1. So down to their final out, a chance here to Swing and a miss. Move the runner along, but Mohali seems to be bearing down. Botswana looking for the win here to close this one out. And it'll be up to Odridge to keep it alive. And he does not. So Botswana comes away with the 1-0 win, and a big win at that. So a surprise upset to open up this 2017 WBSC Senior Men's World Softball Championships. So a good game. And quickly, your thoughts first, Chris, on Team Botswana.
Kahiso Mohali, an 8-inning no-hitter to open the tournament. 1 walk, 1 intentional walk. He is the story of the tournament to start this morning. Botswana, a 1-0 victory over Great Britain.
And when you look at Great Britain, just quickly, again, hurt by lack of offense, just like you said off the top.
It's plagued them all season so far. In Vancouver, they couldn't hit the ball today. They get no hits, put just a few balls in play. I believe just one ball that was hit out of the infield, a fly ball by Peters back in the fourth. So to the batting cages if you're Team Great Britain right now.
So Botswana picks up their first win of the tournament. Great Britain falls to 0-1. We want to remind you, stick around. Dominican Republic, Hong Kong, coming up after this on Sports Canada TV and Ballpark Broadcasting.